ruining democracy, ruining society, ruining humanity. I'm really just doing this off the cuff, but I want to get a lot of your ideas because it will definitely be a part one video. I do want to do a lot more of these, especially in relation to this topic. So, look, the reality is at the moment, I find, and I don't know what you lot find, is that you get a situation like the weekend with David Astori, the Fiorentina captain, died. And then on Monday, there's a story going round on Twitter that Fiorentina are going to pay his contract for the rest of his life. And then you get big accounts on Twitter, even a national newspaper, breaking news, this, that and the other. It's not even true. It's not true. It started by a troll. It's not true. And this is not the first time it happened. It happened with Chappie Cohen's and PSG when the plane crashed and PSG were going to give him 60 million. It wasn't true. And these big accounts, on Twitter especially, they spread this news around and it goes viral and they get a load of retweets and they get a load of likes. And then it's not even true. And this happens a lot. And with a lot of these accounts as well, I mean, I'm not going to bloody name them because you know what they are. You know who these big accounts are who, you know, they put out little clips and everything like that. They're all run, well, the majority of them are run by, they're run like, you know, battery farms, really. It's just people scouring the internet, putting the same thing on and then retweeting it off a number of different accounts that you'd never think that they're owned by the same people, but they are big accounts. And then it goes viral. And they could take any clip, you know, they could have any clip they want and they could get that viral because they've got so many fingers in so many pies, in so many different accounts, in so many different genres. And I just think, you know, this wasn't where I was going to go with this, but I think this is scary. This is democracy that was fought for, you know, in the UK and around the world, the world wars, the freedom, the 60s and all that. And here we are in the year 2018. And I think democracy is being destroyed by social media. I really do. I think these people behind these accounts, they've got so much power that they can put out so much information, and social media is so sort of brainwashes everybody. There is no accountability. There is no checking whether it's true, and messages just go out, and we're all becoming brainwashed. We are all, well, some of us are becoming very brainwashed by it, and it's very, very scary that we supposedly live in a world that's full of democracy. And really it isn't, because social media basically, you know, you sit on a train, you go into a restaurant, you're at work, people are on their phones all the time. What are they looking at? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Where's the verification behind all these stories that are being put out there? And I think social media, in its the message of social media and what it is a positive, free, democratic one. But what it's become is like most things, is a cynical monopolization tool where if you've got enough people and enough influence, you can secretly, covertly own a lot of big accounts and put whatever message you want out there that will go to millions of people, and then that message is there, isn't it? And it doesn't matter whether it's true or not, it's out there. And that can be political, it can be around any message that you want to put out there. It's very, 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 very scary. And I want to do a live debate about it. Because I think it's a really good topic to do. But going back to what I was going to say about Twitter especially, if you are racist on Twitter, if you are homophobic on Twitter, and somebody reports you, there's a very big chance you will get your account suspended. If you call somebody, well, I've had it quite a lot. I've been called a nonce. I've been called Goldbridge is a nonce. Goldbridge is on the register. Goldbridge plays with kids. Goldbridge wants to fiddle with kids. All this sort of stuff. If you make that comment and somebody and you report it, Twitter won't do anything about it. They'll say it's not part of our guidelines to suspend or delete that sort of thing. So it's fine. And I mean, that's just one example. You can call someone a prick. You can tell them to F off. You can pretty much do a hell of a lot of bad things that in the UK law you would be, if you called somebody a nonce on the street, you could get locked up for that. Harassment, public order offence. But you do it on Twitter, they're not bothered. So Twitter is one of the biggest social media outlets out there. And they basically advocate that you can call people the most vile and vulgar things, and it's totally unaccountable. On top of that, there's no verification on how to set up a Twitter account. You don't have to give any of your own personal details. You could go online today, open up Mark Goldbridge likes carrots at gmail.com. You've got an email address, you get yourself on Twitter, make up whatever name you want, David Beckham's underpants, whatever, and you're on. You're on there. And Dante Gerard says best things to do is ignore them. Oh, look, you know what? That's a topic we can discuss in itself. Never, ever, ever let yourself be taken in or affected by these trolls. Because I'll tell you what, 99.9% of them, facts, because I used to work in a job where you deal with people who are harassers, and not necessarily on Twitter, but stalkers and people like that, emails, text messages. 99.9% of the time, the people behind it, they'll absolutely crap their pants if you stand up to them face to face. And most of them will be little kids and teenagers and stuff like that, who big I am because they're hiding behind something that they feel powerful and invincible behind, which they do. Twitter especially allows people to do that. It allows you to sit there wherever you are, coffee shop, bedroom, kitchen, in the bath, having a crap, whatever. You can see somebody's social media message and you can go on there and say, you're a fucking prick, you nonce. And that's fine. Twitter will do nothing about it. They will say, well, it doesn't fit in with our guidelines, look. And the guidelines will all be about racism, homophobia, telling someone to kill themselves or something like that. You'll get suspended for that. But basic, vulgar name calling, bullying is fine. And as Fionn Curtin says, Twitter has become insane. It's become vile. That's what it's become, Fionn. I mean, I love Twitter for the football and for news. It's really, really good. But it's become vile. I mean, a lot of people say Facebook is the nice place, Instagram's good, and Twitter's just an absolute hellhole. And it has become that. It has become that. But it can redeem itself. There is a positive side to it. It could redeem itself. All it needs to do is expand its, punishments to people who are, anyone can look at a tweet and go, that has crossed the line. I mean, there was one the other day. It was going back to Davida's story because it's a topical thing at the moment. Fiorentina captain died at 31. Somebody said, I wish it was Arsene Wenger who died in his sleep last night. He's crap. I mean, I know there's a thin line and you get comedians like Frankie Boyle who probably do that, but it's still pretty vulgar. And if you put that out, as Manchester United fans, we get a lot of people saying Munich and stuff like that, but Twitter wouldn't do anything about that. It's fine. You're basically advocating. I mean, as Femelo says, Twitter encourages controversial tweets because everyone wants to get retweets. And the best way to get attention is to be abusive. That's what gets retweets. I just think it's sad that we live in a world now where anybody, absolutely anybody in the whole world can get themselves onto Twitter, can go after somebody and say whatever they bloody well like within reason. As long as they're clever enough not to be racist, not to be homophobic, just be downright vulgar, you can get away with it. And I think that's just totally wrong. Why are we living in a world like that? Why are people allowing that to happen? 2018, and you're basically the equivalent of what people are doing on Twitter now. 100 years ago, would have been walking up to somebody and going, you're a nonce. You play around with kids. You know what that happened 100 years ago? Somebody probably would have stuck a knife in their gut or smacked them in the mouth. But now they've got this world that is just, it's becoming worse. It's becoming worse. I don't advocate violence, by the way. Everybody knows that. I don't advocate vulgar language and having a pop at people just because you don't like them or you disagree with their opinion either. But I tell you what, it's a problem for now. And it's all right going, as I'm doing, it's all right saying, oh, well, that's the world we live in, Mark. That's the world we live in. No, it isn't the world. Bad things happen while good people sit and do nothing. And we've got to do it. I mean, people die from cyberbullying, Louise O'Donoghue. That was exactly what I was going to say. I mean, I have a lot of people contacting me saying, I don't know how you put up with what you put up with on Twitter. I'll tell you how I put up with it. I don't bloody read it. I tweet what I tweet and I don't read I don't read it. The minute if I ever ask a question on Twitter about football or something like that, read the comments. The first one I see going, Goldbridge in once, that's it. I don't read it anymore. I'm off. That's my coping mechanism. But I've got friends, Drawty, Marcus, a couple of others, left Twitter completely because of abuse, bullying. I've dealt with jobs in the past where, tragic people have, the thing is, the human mind is very, very different for everybody. What some people can take and laugh off, other people can do very bad things to themselves. And this is the thing as well. People can watch this and go, ha, 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 people call Goldbridge a nonce. It's great. Listen to the twat. Fine, whatever. It ain't going to bother me. But you might call the wrong person a nonce. Somebody's, mentally, not able to take that. What if they go upstairs tonight and hang themselves? What if they do that? And this is the thing. Everyone's going, oh, it's Twitter, it's the way it's become. But why? Why does it need to take something really bad to happen for people to react? I think something needs to be done. And the reality is, I've worked for big businesses, I've worked in law enforcement, and it's really simple. Twitter needs to start suspending and banning people who are vulgar to other people. Now, I don't care if someone calling somebody a prick. All right, okay. Maybe warn them or, what's the context? But saying something like, pedo or something like that, that's not, effectively, if somebody is a paedophile, then they've got a problem, haven't they? They're going to get in trouble with the law. So if you're calling somebody that, or, some of the other stuff, you curry eater, something like that, that's racist. That needs to stop as well. But the reality is, and I think society's becoming so apathetic as well. I think 20 years ago, I was in my teens. If somebody needed help, somebody would help them. I think everybody now, it's heads down on your phone and, oh yeah, I'm not getting involved in real life. I'm too into this one. I'm not getting involved in that. People don't want to help each other. I think that needs to come back. And I think that, everybody's becoming very greedy. Like I say, going back to the message at the start, all these people who are retweeting, like a national newspaper retweets that Fiorentina are going to pay David Astori's contract for the rest of his life, for the rest of his kid's life. It's not true. And that's a national newspaper. Where are you checking your facts? Why are you feeding out lies to people? People used to call it fake news. I think fake news is just a Trump saying that I don't want to use. But lies are going out. People are being cyberbullied right now. You go and search on Twitter, you'll find somebody being picked on, bullied. They'd never be allowed to do it in the street, but they can do it on the phone. It needs to stop. And, good people need to stop it from happening. They need to stand up. And Twitter needs to be accountable, and other social media needs to be accountable. And I think it's an absolutely massive, massive topic. And I don't know. I know what the answer is straight away. What they need to do is they need to tighten up what's on Twitter, and people who are saying anything vulgar, suspend them for 24 hours. If they do it again, kill their account completely. They need proper verification behind accounts. I've got no problem setting up a Twitter, Facebook, Instagram account and giving my proper details. I don't mind. As long as they've got, and these companies will have, proper secure systems to store that, like banks do, that's fine. Because that in itself, if you allow faceless accounts, if you allow people to set up an account with no accountability, so it's basically a crappy email address that's not attributable to them, no address, no real details. If you allow somebody to do that, when they go on social media and they go online, they're basically a ghost. They basically can go anywhere they want and say what they want without any comeback at all. That needs to stop as well. And that would stop it straight away. Twitter and social media can be this brilliant place that we all want it to be. All the good people want it to be. But weak people in charge of it, who are too motivated on money, are allowing it to become a cesspit and a bullying. I dread to think the amount of people who are suffering out there, who have killed themselves out there because of social media. And that sounds like a real big statement. Oh, don't be so sensationalist. It's true. It's true. WhatsApp groups, Twitter, Facebook, messaging. The stuff that goes on in there, the stuff that people say in there, disgraceful. It is disgraceful. And I know I'm fortunate to be part of a community on the internet with the United Stand, YouTube, and we've got a really good community of people there. But as Daniel Brooks says, people out there, maybe they do troll for fun, but maybe they need a big kick up the backside and a wake-up call to say it's not acceptable, and they'll stop doing it. And then the tiny minority of vile twats out there who are doing it because they are evil, then they need to be absolutely targeted and kicked off the platform so they can go and do whatever it is they do in their own spare time instead of making other people feel bad. It needs to stop. I've gone on for 15 minutes. I knew once I started I would. I wanna do more of this stuff on this channel. This is really ad hoc, but I want to sort of say when we're going to do it. Snapchat's unbelievable, Hayder, like it is. But without having these discussions and discussing it together, problems won't be solved. And we've got a community. We've got a community for good, and that's what I want. But there might be other sides to the story as well. Get commenting below. And have your say. So Theon just said the police need to get involved. Look, I used to be in law enforcement. Twitter, Facebook, they're a law unto themselves. Getting information out of them is very, very difficult, and it takes a long time. And they are all, Apple are the same. All them, it's very difficult to get that information. It's not quick fire, but the reality is, I remember having a case years ago where somebody was harassing somebody by email, Hotmail. Bloody hell, how different world then. Getting the IP details and everything like that, you can get them, but if they're using a public forum and they're using an email address that they've set up that's not attributable to them, good luck. You've got no chance. It's going to take a lot of work to track that down, and you're going to need a lot of luck. As Calvin said, track IP addresses. A lot of these people aren't stupid. They, very easy to avoid your IP address being used now. Very easy to be faceless online and do whatever you want. But what needs to happen is these companies can have proper verification techniques in. That's what needs to happen. Get commenting. Jake Elliott's right. Social media is a good idea, but it's a sad reality what it's becoming. And Hunter Hell's right. Get commenting below. Give us your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel. We're going to do a lot more of this. And remember, keep giving us ideas of stuff you want us to talk about as well. I'll speak to you all soon. Thanks for watching.